Hello, friends. Welcome back to Masterclass Mondays. Thank you for being here. Sorry for being out of touch for a little while. We've had some technical difficulties, but we're back. So this week we're going to talk about metaphor and specifically how to create a metaphor. So you're creating. So your role as a poet is to create new metaphors, to find ways to transfer how you're feeling and what you're experiencing, and onto imagery, so that you can transfer that to your audience. So I've come up with a few steps to help you create metaphor. So metaphor comes from feeling, comes from a feeling place. So you need to be able to be with your feelings and describe your feelings as honestly as you can. So that's step one, is what are you feeling and what are you writing about? What is your theme? What do you want to make metaphors about? So for now, I'm going to use the example of heartbreak. So let's say you're writing about heartbreak, a loss of some sort, a pain of some sort. So the first thing you need to do is to describe the sensation of that feeling in your body. So how does it actually feel inside your body? Where is it in the body, that feeling of heartbreak, that feeling of loss? Where do you feel it? And how does the sensation feel? Only the sensation, not the story of what happened, but the actual sensation in the body. How does that feel? Try to describe that as closely as you can. You may find yourself, depending on what kind of a person you are, you may find yourself automatically writing in metaphor as soon as you do that. So you might start talking about colors, or you might see imagery. This is also important. You can start writing this down, but make sure that you give some time to just the sensation. Number three. We're going to play a game. It's called like a. So my heartbreak, like a, and then you have different sections. So my heartbreak like an animal, my heartbreak like a landscape, like a weather, like a color, like a character. So if your heartbreak was one of these things, fill all of them in. What would it be? If my heartbreak was a weather, what would it be? If my heartbreak was an animal, what would it be? And the way to know that is to feel that sensation again. And feel, and think about different animals, right? Which one is the energetic match to your feeling? And that's personal to you, and that's what makes that's what would make your poetry interesting to look at. Because I'm feeling the depths of your being by feeling that your heartbreak feels like a panther that's been hungry for days, and it was once proud, but now it's, whatever. That's personal to your experience, and no one else, and everybody else would have a different thing.
Dope.
Number 4 is expand on each one, right? So you've identified them. Now what you can do is you can go and you can spend time with each of these images, and more images will emerge around it. A cohesive, comprehensive world will emerge around it. So for example, let's say that my heartbreak is like that sort of dry heat of the desert, that it's asphyxiating the amount of heat that is coming off of the desert, that you feel like there's nowhere to turn and there's no hope. That's the weather that I'm going to go with. Now I would go and spend time in that image and expand on it through writing, right? I would see myself in that desert, and I would interact with that feeling. I would write maybe about the sand. I would write about the how long I've been there, or the fact that it feels like there's no rescue coming, and that the nights are freezing cold, or like your feeling is going to be the guide. So if really your heartbreak does feel like that desert, write about that and like expand that feeling. And as you're writing, you're immersing yourself into that feeling and bringing it out. Same with the animal. Spend time with the animal. How does it behave? And then the character is interesting because that's a personification. So it's about becoming a human. If your heartbreak was a human, what would they look like? And then you can interact also. What would they say to you? What do they need from you? So it's very interactive. And this is limitless. It's you and your imagination. And that's where poetry comes from. And the last thing I want you to do is I want you to see if you can explain your heartbreak in these terms, like the landscape, the character, the color, but don't use the word like. So take the word like out of it and just try to speak without it and write without it, as if one is the same. That desert is the heartbreak. It's become one thing. All right. So that's what I've got for you today. I would love to hear from you. Maybe you could write a comment with one of the metaphors that you found. Or you can always send me a private message if you'd like more support or to learn more from me. So yeah, thanks a lot for being here, and I'll see you next week.